stuff.
Yeah. So Karen and I went away for the week for my birthday. She surprised me with the snowboarding trip to Butternut Mountain in the Catskills.
Fun fact, I've been to Butternut before. It's a cute little mountain. It's adorable.
It's super cute. That's where I learned to ski as well. So it was like super bonding in that way. I was able to share that with her. Also, the town Great Barrington is super cute, super progressive, and super beautiful. It's like a town that I could potentially see myself living in the future. Like the crosswalks are LGBTQ colors, very rainbow-esque. There's Black Lives Matter protest in this small town. It's diverse.
It's pretty
surprisingly diverse
but yeah.
But it's more diverse than you would assume.
Yeah, it's more diverse than most ski towns I've been to.
Yeah.
Which isn't saying much.
Yeah. But at least they stand for the right things, and they do have a dispensary there, so it's quite progressive. So it was pretty cool. And then we just had a lot of good times. The actual snowboarding was a little bit more difficult. Karen took some bad falls, but then she started getting the hang of it. And by the last day we were there, she was going down the mountain all on her own. I don't know if she necessarily likes snowboarding, but she definitely enjoys spending time on the mountain. So we might try skiing next time.
I was about to say maybe she'll like skiing, because when I was growing up, I grew up on a mountain. That's what my childhood was. It was Sugarloaf Mountain up in Maine. And I tried snowboarding many times, but I could never get the hang of it. I think it's the same thing. Like I could never get the hang of like skateboarding. But skiing made a lot of sense. It was like you basically just point your body in that direction, and the skis will basically take you there. And of course, you can get more technical.
Take you there.
You can get more technical with it if you want. But at the end of the day, as long as you're pointing your skis straight in that direction, you're going to go in that direction.
When I was working in the ski store, I would do snowboard and ski rentals, and people were like, "Oh, what should I do?" And I'd give the same spiel every time. I'd be like, "Well, skiing is easy to learn but hard to master, but snowboarding is hard to learn but easy to master." they would go, "Oh, I'll try skiing then."
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's actually a very good analogy, because skiing is like once you knew it, like I was like a 5-year-old and I was doing double black diamonds. So like
totally.
I got good at skiing. I got very, very good at skiing. But it takes a lot of like work and experience. Not only that, it's not like other activities where you can do it at other times throughout the year. You've got a very set period of time.
And it's not a cheap sport to do. You can't just I'll roll out and go skiing. It's like, well, actually, are you going to pay for the rentals, the lift ticket, the way to get there, and then where you're going to stay after, and then the food's going to kill you. So it's just quite the white collar activity. Yeah,
absolutely. It's you got to have some wealth to do it. On my end, I was in Denver for the past 3 weeks filming my next feature length film. Hey, look at that!
Woo! Congratulations.
Had some fucking phenomenal interviews. I had my very first dominatrix experience. That was interesting, to say the least.
Go on.
So this amazing woman who we talked to and interviewed, she is a full-time professional dominator. That's what she does for work. That's how she pays her bills.
Yes.
And we were like,
love it.
Hey, we'd love to talk to you about your domination stuff, but would you be willing, to like give me an hour, to give me like an hour session? And she was like, yeah, I'd love to do that. That sounds really fun. And I was like, cool, awesome. Like that's like a big deal too. Those things are not cheap. Like they're like,
well, yeah. What are we talking?
When she's in Denver, it's $500 an hour. And when she's out of town, because she goes to like DC and some other places pretty frequently, it's $800 an hour. So it's like, okay, cool. Like, thank you so much for one, giving your time to interview us, but also two, not charging me that money because I don't have it.
So she have her own dungeon?
She does.
Is it?
Yep. She has her own dungeon. She makes all of her own tools. I mean, the woman herself is
craftsman, artist.
Yeah, she's so fucking cool. Like this lady was so amazing to speak with and down to earth and a really just lovely person in general.
Yes.
Who also likes to exert dominance over people for her work. And so I had a session, and I have to say, as much as I liked her and like her whole personality and stuff like that, I don't necessarily think I would ever do it again. I just don't. I don't like getting hit with shit.
I could just see you being like, "Why are you so mean?"
Well, the cool thing was we before the session started, we interviewed her, and then she goes through whenever she has a new client. She goes through like a checklist of things that she asks them to like, see what she can do. You know, like she doesn't want to be too aggressive and hurt her client or anything like that. And I was like, hey, I'm like the Weenie Hut Jr. of domination. Like whatever the lowest level, can you just like caress me gently with the whip? Like I don't want
a kid's toy at the end of this or a milkshake along the way.
Yeah. Whatever the lowest version of what you normally do is, please do that for me. And the funny thing is, like, I'm not necessarily adverse to pain. I mean, I get tattoos all the time. Those aren't those aren't a walk in the park either. But like, by no means. I don't necessarily want to mix like pain with sexuality. Like that's not something I've ever been like super on board with. But so we go through the whole hour-long session. I get fucking tied up on a fucking rail. She slaps me a couple times, but she's gentle more than 50% of it. Like, and that was kind of one of the things.
Still playful.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I learned as we were doing the set. It's not all about, it depends completely on the client. Like, yeah, some clients want to get hurt. They want to really
stepped on their throat.
Yeah, they want to fucking get the shit kicked out of them. But other clients really just want, some, kind of like playful pain mixed with like sensual touching and all this other stuff. And it was great. Like, I'm really glad I did it. It made me understand why people do it a lot more. Like, I fully understand it more. But it's just definitely something that's like, it's not in my, like, what I want to incorporate in the bedroom, And it's not something that I think I ever need to do again.
You're not a simp, true and true. You're not going to be into giving a lot of money to someone to just penalize you for it.
Dude, well, yeah, not only that, but I mean, it's so expensive. And it's like, at the end of the day, if I'm going to spend those prices, I'd rather just, because also dominatrix don't have sex with their clients. Like, that's a big part of the like, people think that it's like, oh, they're also a prostitute. It's like, no. Nope. That doesn't happen at all. 9 times out of 10, they're not even naked. So you are literally just paying for the privilege of having somebody beat the fuck out of you. And it's like, at that point, I'd rather just pay for a prostitute and have exactly what I wanted in the first place, which was just sex.
Or you can just, find a significant other, and by year 2, they will be doing that to you naturally.
Yeah, absolutely. Spend that money on some dates and some other stuff like that. But apart from that, we had, like I said, some amazing interviews. The documentary that we're making is about making the lifestyle, which, do you know what the lifestyle is?
Please tell me.
So the lifestyle, it's like a big umbrella term for people who are in swinging, who do polyamory, ethical non-monogamy, BDSM, kink. All of that kind of falls under this big umbrella term called the lifestyle. And when you say that, some people will be like, I don't know what that means, just like you. Or they'll be like, oh, no, what part of the lifestyle are you in? And I got into the lifestyle pretty shortly after finishing V-Card. My first sexual partner was actually in the lifestyle herself, and we went to a couple of swinging events, and I was like, oh, this feels really right for me. Like, I really like this part of being really open about my sexuality and having other people who know exactly what they want sexually. It really kind of cuts down on, like, maybe not the game playing, but like, it's people who know exactly what they want, and they're still searching for it, and they're open to talking about it. And that's really nice. I don't want a partner in the bedroom who is still repressing what they desire, that's not fun. And then as I was going through the lifestyle and learning more about it through V-Card and through this other partner that I had, I was like, this is like relatively complex. Like, there's a lot of terminology, there's a lot of things, there's different aspects of it. And I was like, I've seen documentaries about swinging and I've seen documentaries about polyamory, but I never thought they got it like really right. It was always like, look at how crazy these people are.
Right. Look how taboo it is. Look how much leather we're wearing.
Yeah, look at how, oh my God, aren't these people crazy? And it's like, no, these people aren't really crazy at all. They're like school moms and like stay-at-home husbands and shit like that. They're just normal people who have a more advanced version of their sexuality. And I was like,
just open dialogue to what they like.
Yeah.
They're just more free in that way.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I would like to make a documentary that like helps people understand it a little bit better. Just the same way that I had to like learn it and get like definitions and all this other stuff. So that's what I'm working on. And I was lucky enough to for You Do You, we interviewed these people called Urvashi and Kama. They run Spark Erotic, which is a erotic company, and they had a separate documentary that they were working on that they needed to gather interviews for, and they were like, "Why don't you come up and we can gather interviews together and we can So it was amazing.
Sure. Great.
Yeah, it was the past 3 weeks were fantastic. Now I have to like figure out where I'm going to get more of my interviews and where we're going to find the money. But at the end of the day, we got over 42 people.
Wow. Yeah. That's a huge start. Yeah. Sounds like you're almost done. That sounds like an incredible amount of people.
No, not even close. For V-Card, we talked to 172, I think.
Wow. All right.
But yeah, no, it's been really cool. And sorry if the podcast has been on hiatus for a little bit. I don't think it has. I think we've been good about keeping it basically every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think we might be a little behind on this one, but we both had real life knock on our door, and we had to answer. Yeah, we had to answer.
Absolutely.
You had, yeah. So sorry.
Well, speaking of which,
we're back.
Hello and welcome to Pop Culture Party People, a podcast about all things pop culture. We are your humble hosts here at Pop Culture. I am Dillon Burtzel.
And I'm Warren Chow. So great to have you all with us.
Yeah, thank you for listening to our very long non-intro intro.
Yeah. But we would assume that if you've been listening to us this long, you care about us as people. So now you know a little bit more about what we're doing day to day and how our lives are progressing. So you're welcome.
Yeah,
that's this.
You're
update.
Welcome. Thank you. Why don't you thank us for that intro?
Yeah, drop a comment about how much you're thankful that we did that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, man. Now that we've kind of caught up a little bit, I'm glad everything's going in. How's NYC? You got vaccinated, right?
I got the first vaccine, getting the second one on Valentine's Day. Also, our first year anniversary. So, very momentous day.
Ooh, very nice.
Basically, I'll become a god and I'll be in a year-long relationship. So, really, I'll just be elevated to a whole new level of snobbishness.
Well, is this your first like real long-term relationship?
No, this is my second. So, it's not. Yeah, but this is my first time living with a significant other, so it's been a real learning experience, and it's been great.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Been a lot of, yeah.
Besides that, how did the vaccine make you feel? Did anything feel different? Did you have any like side effects of getting it or anything like that?
Okay, so I would say the annoyance I have with the vaccine are the people in line who are complaining about being in a line to get a vaccine. I would say that was the worst part about getting the vaccine. Because to me, it's like, we're getting the vaccine. Shut the fuck up and be happy about it. But it was a cold day. As far as any symptoms, my arm hurt for maybe 3 days. But other than that, I was fine. No symptoms besides that. And it was a really painless process. The quick shot, little pain in your arm. You sit down for a bit. People talk to you. You set up your next appointment for your next dose the very minute you get your shot. And yeah. I am fully supporting of the vaccine.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm planning on getting mine soon. And I've also, I remember when I got vaccinated to go to Japan, because anytime you do like international travel where you're going to be living in a place, you have to get like their vaccinations to go.
Sure.
I remember I got 5 vaccinations in one day and I felt fucking weird.
Yeah, your DNA just uncoiled and then became something new.
Dude, it was fucking nuts. Yeah, so it's like 5 in one arm. So my arm hurts and then it's just like my body is just like, what is this?
Your body's like, lay down right now.
Yeah, you need to take a break. But before we get into what we talked about last episode and our recommendations, I just wanted to go through some geek news with you. Did you see the Godzilla vs. Kong trailer? How do we feel about this?
All right, I'm so glad you brought this up because obviously I am a huge fan of kaijus. 2 questions come to mind real quick. One is, how did Kong get so big?
Mm.
And then two, is Godzilla really the bad guy? Like, I don't think that's the right story to be telling. But yeah, please, I want to hear what you think now.
Yeah, it feels very sapienist, and yeah, no, I have a very strong feeling that it's not going to be Godzilla versus King Kong. Honestly, I think there's going to be a third bad guy that they haven't shown, so that they can fucking straight team up and bring down. It's probably not going to be Ghidorah because he was in the last movie and he was fucking great. Like,
it was fantastic,
so good,
so much fun.
Seriously,
I wonder if it'd be Mecha Godzilla.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Like, that would be really fucking cool.
Yeah.
I too love Kaiju. I love them. I actually thought the last Godzilla movie was fucking amazing. Like, saw that in IMAX.
Agreed. Yes.
I'm mind blown. Watching this trailer though, I was like, it looks really fun and it looks super dumb. Like, those were like my two big takeaways. I was just like, this doesn't make any goddamn sense. One, how the fuck did Godzilla is huge. He's like the size of a fucking
humongous.
Mountain. And King Kong isn't even as big as the Empire State Building. So the idea of him being the same size, it doesn't make any fucking sense. So yeah, like, what happened? Like, has he been in the gym?
Just lifting weights?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what growth hormone did he take?
He's just been chugging on kaiju juice and just bulking up.
And on top of that,
also,
like, Godzilla's a fucking nuclear reactor and King Kong is a monkey.
Yeah, there's no contest. It's never been a contest.
Yeah.
But it's always sapienist. It's always King Kong stands a fighting chance.
Yeah. It's so sapienist.
Well, also, so when they're fighting on water, it's like, so they're on top of a ship and then they fight each other on top of the ship, but the ship is inevitably gonna break. And Godzilla always seems to be like breaching water and standing up. So my question is Godzilla kicking his feet really quickly underwater to keep himself above the water?
Yes.
Is his tail like a propeller? Like, are we just not seeing his gigantic feet going like this underwater?
There's an amazing poster that has that for the first Godzilla movie. He's out in the middle of the Pacific and he's standing up and it's like, what? How?
Yeah.
There's clearly no island there. It's the middle of the ocean. Even Godzilla isn't as tall as the ocean. The ocean's real fucking deep.
Yeah, we don't know even how deep it is. That's how deep it is. It'd be funny if like the sea creatures are making like a shelf for him to stand on. They all come together.
Yeah, just a bunch of blue whales, just like fucking floaties. Yeah. But like, yeah, the crazy thing is, like, once again, if you are the type of person that annoys you, don't watch these movies. Don't.
Yeah.
You gotta let that go.
Yeah, you come into this for the dumb fun of watching two gigantic creatures fist fight each other. Release everything else you need. The fact they have like these human characters trying to progress this story is always secondary to just the monster fight. Show us the monster fight.
That's why Pacific Rim was so good. That movie knew exactly what it was. It was just like, we need robots to fight kaiju. And that is it. Sure, we'll have a story with Charlie Hunnam, but it's not going to be good, and you're not going to want to watch it.
Right. Yeah. But then you're going to enjoy the Ron Perlman, Charlie Day connection and watch their fun little banter.
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought I'm excited to see that. I'm excited that HBO is, or Time Warner Media, technically, who owns HBO, is doing all the at-home releases. If you've got HBO Max, I think that's it's fucking cool of them.
I mean, what's on the lineup for them? They're going to do
the Little Things is coming up.
Godzilla.
The Little Things is coming up on Friday, which I'm really excited to see.
Can't wait.
They've got Tom and Jerry. They've got.
Wait, real quick about Little Things though. I'm already tired of Rami Malek. I'm already tired of his kind of gimmick. It's just kind of talking like this, or being like just like really weird guy that doesn't fit in the context of any story. It's like, why are you like this borderline zombie vampire right now? Like, you're a police officer. What is happening with your face and all of your mannerisms?
I was gonna say, I think it's perfect casting for Mr. Robot because he was supposed to play like a recluse hacker. Makes total sense. Mm-hmm. This one, he's just like a cop, and it's like, dude, why are you? Yeah, what's up?
Why are you so weird? Yeah. Who's the murder suspect?
Are you? Yeah, are you high on Ambien all the time? What's going on? we need to have a talk. Like, seriously, we're gonna bring you up to IA if you don't do this. And of course, it's got everybody's favorite cult leader, Jared Leto, in it,
and he fits perfectly in that role.
Yeah,
I mean, he's born to play it, and he's living that life. So,
dude, Jared Leto's so interesting because I do think that he's a very good actor. Like, I legitimately think he's a fucking talented motherfucker. I was never a huge fan of 30 Seconds to Mars, but he is musically adept as well. Like, the dude's got some talent, and of course, let's not deny he's very attractive. That's a good looking man.
He's like a 50-year-old man who just looks like a teenager still. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's nuts. But he's also super fucking creepy. That dude is,
and he's got a cult.
Fucking weird.
It's
and he has
fucking
a cult.
weird.
Yeah,
he's the devil. We can just say it. He's perfect for Morbius, and he's probably a version of the devil.
Yeah, absolutely.
He sold his soul, and it says what you get when you sell your soul correctly.
I think yeah, he's gonna make a phenomenal Morbius as well whenever that movie fucking comes out. But yeah, he's fucking weird. So yeah, HBO Max is doing all of those, and they're gonna keep doing them until the end of the year, which is so fucking cool.
Yes, it is.
And then let's see what else is in the news. Oh, have you been keeping tabs on the fucking GameStop stock thing that's been happening?
GameStonk?
Yeah, the GameStonks.
I have been. And what? So I didn't buy any of the GameStonks, and I didn't buy any of the BlackBerry. I didn't buy any of these new GameStonk stocks that are going to rise now, because it's really cool that the little man is given to the big man. But at a certain point, you can't afford to keep doing this, the little man. Eventually, it's going to dip because you can't afford to keep buying stocks anymore. And the big man can just sit back and wait that out. So it's a fun exercise in giving it back to these assholes who wanted to bury GameStop. But I'm concerned about the next coming weeks about what happens.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. It's one, I didn't buy any stocks either. I don't have any fucking money to buy stocks, even cheap stocks. I'm barely making fucking rent. So the idea, but the crazy thing is there's a part of me that's like, oh, this is fucking hysterical that they're manipulating the market and actively fucking over these hedge funds. And then, of course, there's a part of me that's like, I mean, that's funny and memeing them is hysterical. But on the same thing, like you just said, the little guys are going to get fucked at some point. Like, if they don't get their options out fast enough, they're just going to be left with tons and tons of debt that they're not going to be able to recuperate. And it's that's when it stops being like, oh, this is really funny. And it's like, oh, these have real world ramifications.
Yes.
And I do love the idea that, small independent investors are getting super duper wealthy. That is amazing. It's using the stock market has never really been for little people. And it's good to see that it happens. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's I'm waiting for the bubble to burst very soon. And it's not going to be pretty for fucking anyone.
What's also pretty crazy to hear is the guy who did The Big Short, the real life person who betted against the real estate and made a bunch of money. He owns 1,500 shares of GameStop.
Michael Burry.
So he just So he in a way foresaw this as well, and also it became even richer from this. So that guy is just so fucking interesting. In 2019, he bought a bunch of GameStop stock, and it almost makes you wonder if he was somehow involved in this because he's just a mastermind.
Dude, Michael Burry, he is on a whole nother level. I mean.
Yeah.
Also, if anybody's worried, he also owns more stock in water than I think anybody on the planet because he's worried that we're going to run out of fresh water, which is probably a valid concern.
Yeah, it sucks that how true that might be.
Really something we should maybe look into.
But how does stocks and water translate to actual water in your home? It's not is it a point where he's going to be I want to redeem these stocks and give me my water? Or he's going to own the water management companies to control the intake?
I basically think it's that. I think he's going to own the water management companies or the people who are in control of fresh water.
God, that's so scary.
Which is, fucking terrifying.
He's fucking he's Tank Girl. He's the villain in Tank Girl.
Yes. That's aptly put. Yeah.
At some point he's gonna lose his hand. He's gonna start jabbing in water jugs in our chest to extract water.
For those of you who've never seen Tank Girl,
shame on you. And then
God, we should do that for but is it good? I haven't seen that movie in fucking years.
Did we just organically find our next segment of yeah, but is it good?
I think we did. I know I had
Yes.
I know that I had a suggestion for yeah, but is it good for next time? But I think this is even better. This is even better.
I mean, I love Tank Girl so much. I was trying to write a stage show of Tank Girl, so I cannot wait to rewatch this movie. My memory of it is utterly loving it. Ice-T as his kangaroo monster, so I can't wait to rewatch this.
Funnily enough, more of my memories for Tank Girl, like I saw bits and pieces of it on like Comedy Central. Weirdly enough, used to air it all the fucking time. But I remember the comic more, and the fucking guy who draws the gorillas, Jamie Hewlett. That was his first comic book, and that's how he got onto the gorillas. The art for Tank Girl really inspired fucking what's his name? The dude who's the head singer of
Damon.
Yeah,
Damon Albarn.
Damon Albarn is the head singer of the Gorillaz, and he's like, dude, I love your art. We should collab on something. And that's how one of the greatest bands in human history came into existence.
Truly. Wow. Holy smokes. Yeah, man. I think we have to do this now. We're already talking about it.
Oh, no. So, yeah, we're doing that. So next week on Yeah, But Is It Good? We're doing Tank Girl. But speaking of our recommendations from last time, let's see. What do we want to do first? Do we want to do, as we called it last episode, Damager? Because both me and Warren don't know how to read because the title is Damager.
Just, you know what? When you think of a kung fu film, you just want to give it an accent sometimes. So you,
I remember.
So you just think it's a foreign film. It must be called Damager, right?
Because I wasn't looking at it, and Warren was the one who picked it. I was like, okay, Damager, cool. And then I typed it into fucking YouTube, and I was like, isn't that Damager?
You know what? Sometimes you just try too hard to give a foreign film an accent it doesn't have.
But you know what? I actually think Damager is a better title, so we're gonna keep going with that. Damager.
It's also there's a whole conspiracy to this movie as well, because the movie that we watched was only 3 minutes long.
Yes.
And when you hear that, it's like it's obviously a clip from the whole movie. And when you read the comment section, people watch the full length of the film on this clip somehow. So at some point, either this person is lying that there's a 24-minute mark to this movie that never existed, at least on YouTube, or it got cut down to 3 minutes at some point. At some point, Wu-Tang Collection was like, I'm going to re-edit this entire movie to these 4 scenes.
So much like Warren, I fell down this conspiracy rabbit hole myself. and the original Damager, or Damager, if you are not retarded, is actually 2 hours and 17 minutes long. I'm really glad that we didn't watch. No kung fu movie should be over an hour and a half. I don't care if you're Jackie Chan, Jet Li, any of them. Every kung fu movie, if it goes past an hour 45, I'm upset.
Yes. There's not enough fighting to progress a story that long.
Yeah. But luckily, Wu-Tang Collective realized the error of its ways and decided to cut the film down into 3 minutes and 24 seconds, including only 3 scenes, all of which make kind of no sense, but do make sense in like the context of what you're watching. So would you like to kind of give a breakdown of what happens in these 3 minutes? And then we can talk about it.
So the story almost works in a 3-minute segment, almost like in a short film. Essentially, it opens on a council of concubines and wives going to a practicing king of martial arts who's just kind of flipping his arms left and right to find out that the prince is dying of some cure or some disease. Sorry, so he calls in his doctor to cure him, and the doctor's saying that the sinus is too close to his heart, so he doesn't want to perform any doctoral work on that. So he then beats him up and throws him across his whole province. To then they go call upon an acupuncturist to save the son. But then the acupuncturist seemingly is running away. Mm-hmm. So then they give all their money to their 3 daughters. One daughter who looks like could be the mother as well. Mm-hmm. Anywho. So then you thinking it's going to cut to the acupuncturist doctor to fighting this evil emperor who's beating people up and being ridiculous. Instead, it jump cuts
to the end of the film, to the literal last film.
Where you just see a man in a hospital bed surrounded by doctors in scrubs and masks and gloves on with one hospital light over this man. To when you see a new hero come in, the new acupuncturist, so we have never met and is not the one we met earlier.
Who I also believe is German because they say the German doctor is high, which doesn't make any fucking sense.
So then he comes in and he performs acupuncture by poking his finger into this dead body. But when they go to the shot of him poking the dead body, the guy is already awake and alive, and he's responding to him poking his body as if he's saving his life. Then he's exalted for it, and then they walk out in this very cinematic scene, and they seemingly save the day.
And it ends.
And that is Damager.
We went on a wild 3 minutes. Like, it was, there's a little action, there's a little romance, there's a little medical jargon. It's all, it has everything that you would want and need. Yeah. So,
so good.
That is our review of Damager. If you happen to have seen the real film Damager, feel free.
Yes.
Yeah, we saw
Damager.
And we're sticking to that. Me and Warren watched the 3-minute short film called Damager.
God, it's so dumb.
This is going to be one of our best inside jokes now from now on. Like, I love that this became Damager.
We can now vote on movies. It's like, it's not good or bad. It's like, is it a Damager or is it not a Damager? And if it is a Damager, then is it good or bad?
How many Damagers out of 10 do you give it? But if you have seen the real film Damager, please let us know how accurate that 3-minute clip is to the overall sequence of the film. Which, by the way, even this 3-minute clip, dude, I don't know what they shot this on. It looks like they shot it through a piece of cloth. Like, the image quality is so fucking bad. It literally looks like, they strapped like a towel to the lens and they were like, all right, we're good. Let's shoot it.
It's almost like they dropped the camera in some sand and went, just spit on it.
Yeah.
All right, keep shooting.
We don't pay you to think, Lee. Get the thing on the golly. Let's go.
Time is money. Start moving those arms. Let's go. Remember, you're awake when he touches you. All right, and action.
Absolutely. Also, for some reason, the doctor's German, but he looks Asian. Let's do this. Well.
Western medicine can never compete with Eastern medicine. Poke.
Oh my God, he's alive. End of film. Now, I feel like it would make logical sense to transition directly into Warrior because it's kind of on the same line. But I want to save Warrior for last because I've got so many things to say about it. So let's talk about my recommendation for you. Last week, I recommended a podcast that I've been listening to for years now, and I thought was kind of relevant to what was happening in the Capitol, and that is Behind the Bastards, hosted by Robert Evans. Could you tell me a little bit more about the podcast, Warren, and your thoughts about it?
Well, so what I gathered, I listened to the episodes on QAnon, on police unions, and a little bit of insurrection. And what I can gather is that Robert Evans is a highly talented journalist who I think he was saying he was trying to be a filmmaker or something along the lines of that. And then he transitioned, he's trying to do some sort of company, and then he transitioned into this podcast, which ended up working out really well for him.
The backstory on Robert Evans is that he, for a very long time, was a staff writer at Cracked, which was back in the early 2000s, this amazing humor website that it got really famous for doing like these listicles, like top 5 blah, blah, blahs. But they would also do these really in-depth articles on like human trafficking, the state of like the war in Yemen and other stuff. Like the website was all over the place, but it had amazing, funny information mixed with like really important journalistic integrity. And sadly, as the internet kind of gave way to not paying for news anymore and advertisers backing out of giving news organizations money, Cracked died and subsequently fired a ton of people that went on to start like their own things. Robert Evans being one of them, Cody Johnson being another one. He does Some More News, him and Katie Stoll. That's their thing. But Robert Evans, a like wartime reporter, started Behind the Bastards, and that's kind of his background.
Okay. Well, hearing all that, it makes perfect sense because it's such a great blend of comedy and with this very serious topic. It's very digestible in a way that you're talking to someone on a couch. It's like a very non-threatening friend who's making it very pleasant and funny to hear about these terrible atrocities throughout history and things that are going on currently. And the wealth of knowledge and research he's done, he goes really far back. He gives you every piece of information you could possibly need about the topic to a point where you're like, why are we still talking about coal unions right now to get to current day police unions? But it's like, no, it all works together if you just bear with it. It's an extremely talented podcast. My critique on it, though, would be this podcast is the same reason why I'm afraid to go to Portland. It's just like the
Go on.
it's like the ultra leftist, like knowledgeable people who seemingly will ram down information on your throat if you say one thing wrong and being like, wait, you didn't know about that? How dare you? You're like, whoa. I just want a donut in a casual conversation. And the reason why I got that vibe was during the QAnon part of it, his guest was literally only adding adverts of being like, yeah, totally. Like I would insert his character as British cool guy because he just would be like, oh, that's crazy, right? Oh, I hear you. That's perfectly honest. No way, really? Oh, come on, man. That's what we're talking about? Wow, that's ridiculous. To which Robert Evans like, yeah, and then So it was, I felt like listening to that guy getting steamrolled. I was like, man, this is what scares me about going to Poland.
Yeah, no, I can completely agree with that. Funnily enough, Robert Evans isn't like crazy ultra liberal. He's actually pretty, he likes guns and other stuff like that. But yeah, there have definitely been some episodes where he's had people on who are just like, look, I'm liberal, but you're like crazy pants liberal. Like, let's calm down. Let's take a beat. Let's like take a breath. And
he's like, no, I have this 10 more pages to throw at you.
I would also say for anybody who is not into depressing information, not the podcast for you. This is a cavalcade of information that will make you feel real bad all the time. Like I only listen to Behind the Bastards every once in a while, but it is an important podcast because one, he's giving you history that like for a lot of them I'd never even heard of. Like this is really interesting information that I had no idea about, and honestly, it's not like I was taught it in school or even had access to stuff like that in school. So it's definitely amazing to get a different perspective and actively have somebody be so like surgical about telling you historically what happened. On the other hand, I do agree with Warren that at certain points where you're just like, this is too much information. Like, this is just too much. Like, I can't listen to this. On the other token, it's like, especially for people like Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, both two of my favorite 2-part episodes, like those people are fucking awful. And I knew that they were bad, but I didn't realize how bad they are until he gives you like the full thwap of information about, you shouldn't respect these people and they should be held accountable for their actions. And I don't know why we're not doing it. So there's 2 parts of my brain where it's like, I want to hear this and I want to be more informed and get more information. Big part of being a documentarian is kind of having that want and desire to just be more informed about the world. And then the other part of you is like, I don't know if I can listen to this depressing shit for 4 hours.
Right. Do you really want to ruin your day?
But I'm really glad.
It kind of makes sense. Yeah. Well, there's a big thing with them that they are very cynical, but they make lighthearted jokes about it. So when you first listen to it, you're like, how are they laughing about this? Like, what is wrong with them that they can laugh about this? And the truth of the matter is, like, when you live in this life of learning so many atrocities and these hardships, you kind of need to laugh those things off. I'd say it's akin to like soldiers of war who have this kind of cryptic, very cynical sense of humor is like they need that to cope, and because they've seen so many things, that's kind of like their way of laughing about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think
So
like because he's been doing this podcast for years now. I mean, he's got, I think it's like over 300 plus episodes. And I mean, like, yeah, if you're going to research atrocities, the only way that you can like get through it is to laugh about it and try and like change it, obviously.
Yes.
But yeah, like you, you would lose your mind if you were just like, I'm going to take in all this information and not like find at least some of it funny.
Find some way to cope with it.
Would you recommend?
Well,
would
yeah,
you would you recommend
it.
it, especially for people who are kind of looking to get more information about American politics, about American slavery and corruption?
Yes, I would think it's a great outlet in a very digestible form. Just be wary about when you're listening to it and give yourself enough time to really retain it, because it's a lot of information condensed into an hour, sometimes 2 hours.
Yeah, well, not only that, you listen to one of like the denser ones, like the police union one is so amazingly researched, but so much information. Yeah, it's so fucking dense. It's like a 4-part, like legitimate from the beginning of history look at what policing is to now. It's nuts.
Yes. It's nuts. It's so informative. It's so fucked up. It's a scary thing how companies were able to run towns at one point. But yeah, if you are curious about learning things and don't have the third eye to research like Robert Evans does, listen to his podcast, because he will make it much easier for you to learn some really, really poignant.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. That's why I recommended it. I thought it was important, especially with what was happening last week, to be like, hey, there's definitely information out there, and there are definitely people who can explain it better than I can. And I'm sure that I know Karen's pretty involved with that as well, so I'm sure that she enjoyed it as well. So it was something I wanted to pass along to you guys as activists yourself.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
And now let's talk about fucking Kung Fu. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's talk about Warrior on HBO Max. Everyone watch this show. Everyone, please watch this show. It needs a third season. We need people to watch it on HBO Max, or else there won't be a third season. Please watch Warrior.
So Warren, for any of our listeners who maybe didn't listen to last week's episode, could you tell me a little bit more about Warrior and why you recommended it to me?
So Warrior is a show that takes place in 1869, before the Chinese Exclusion Act, and it takes place with the Chinese immigrants in Chinatown of San Francisco battling the Irish and the current existing people of San Francisco and fighting for a reason to survive, while also telling the story of the Tongs, aka the gangs in Chinatown, and how they are coexisting or not coexisting. And you meet the lead character right away, who gets off the boat from China to come to America to seemingly save his sister. And a big reason why this show is so important is that it's based off of Bruce Lee's writings. It's a show that he was creating for himself, that he wrote about, and it was never able to be created. His daughter now was able to take these writings, work with Justin Lin, and create Warrior. So this is very much an homage and in the exact text
first and foremost,
Bruce Lee.
I have to say, I fucking love this show. The show's amazing. I couldn't help but feeling like, God damn, I wish I could have seen Bruce do this. Like, there's such a huge part of me that's like, oh man, it's so sad that he couldn't do this. But I will say that everybody who got hired for this show fucking kills it.
Kills it.
If we can't have Bruce, the cast that they assembled for this show is amazing. It's like the level of talent that is on screen all the time is shocking. It's just, it's
just
breathtaking.
Incredible. Oh my God, it's breathtaking.
The costumes and set design are beautiful. I'm really pissed that I'd never heard about the show before you mentioning it to me. And it feels like the show has it feels like the show is completely flown under the radar, and I really don't understand why. I don't know if it's because it's like a Cinemax show and it didn't get any like credit from that. Like, okay, so Warren's explanation is right. It takes place in the 1800s, so you have all the period dress. You've got all this stuff. They've got like very specific language that they use as well, like specific slang. Like white people are ducks, which I don't particularly understand, and Chinese people are onions. I don't.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. But hey, it works. Maybe there are probably some more real terms that they're like, you know what, we don't need to be that realistic.
Maybe let's not say that. But it is also, I have never, and this is sad to say, but it's important to say, I've never seen a cast of this many Asians in one thing. Like and speaking English. And not only that, I don't know, who is your favorite character? Because Young Jun is by far like head and shoulders. I fucking love that character so much, and I wish that guy was in more things. Like, I want to see him acting in that. Although I will say Chow, the guy who does the arms dealing, is a very close second. That dude fucking is amazing. I do like Assam, the lead, but
he's a little stiff. But what's great if you love Young Jun is Justin Tobin has an interesting career, and then I think he's about to be in the new Fast and Furious movie, and then in Justin Lin's first movie, Better Luck Tomorrow, Justin Tobin plays like the crazy character in that. So if you want to go back to very early 2002 movie and rewatch that, you can see a great early transformation of Justin Tobin to then becoming Young Jun. As far as my favorite characters, it has to be Atoy, maybe Chow, or it's a toss between Atoy and
the
Chow.
enforcer of the other gang with the sister, right?
Atoy is the
my god, yeah, owner. She's
the female.
How did I fucking forget about her? I want to marry her.
Yeah,
she is.
Yes.
Let's not beat around the bush. There are some exceedingly attractive brothel scenes that happen in this show.
Yes.
If you're looking for kind of a Game of Thrones level of nudity, it's in here. I'm not gonna. It doesn't detract from the show. It doesn't feel sleazy. But yeah, there are just holy fuck. She's just like,
just gorgeous. And then the costumes they put her in too, like these beautiful dresses,
incredible makeup,
like face paintings. But then they give her the ability to still be a boss and still interact with the white people and still have power in an own graceful way. And then also she's a fucking killer. Sorry, a little bit of a spoiler. She's a badass who has a big ass sword and will fuck you up in a fight. So they give her these dimensions, which is so fucking amazing. They're not making her some delicate flower brothel owner. They're giving her these dimensions to fucking be a business owner, be thriving, and be a fucking killer.
Well, yeah,
She's
there are two
great
very
character.
strong female leads. Her and Asem's sister, Mai Ling, who plays the other. Basically, the spoiler at the beginning of the season, she's married to the boss leader, but then eventually becomes the boss of this other Tong gang, and really amazing performances. And yes, the blending of both Chinese and then into English is much like kind of like The Great Pretender, how they did such an amazing job of being like, all these people are speaking different languages, but to make the show more cohesive, we're going to bring it into this. I will say there were times where I was like, I really wish they would speak more Chinese, because it was like, the scenes when they do it are so impactful and so interesting, and it's really cool to see actors who are either ABCs or have been born in America and are American, but it's cool to see them speak their native dialect and crush it, and like really give a performance through a language that you don't fully understand.
Well, it's a pretty amazing casting because it's a worldwide casting. So, like, Andrew Koji, who plays Assam, is from the UK, I believe. The actress who plays Mai Ling is from Canada, as well as the actress from Atoy, Olivia Chang. Joe Salam is from Indonesia. He's the guy, the bodyguard for Mai Ling is the guy from The Raid. They got the all-star talent.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's a
guys,
total badass.
the crazy thing is, as much as we haven't even talked about the fighting yet. That's how good this show is, and we haven't even talked about some of the best parts of the show.
I wonder, though, behind the scenes, if Lee Young, the guy from Raid, was supposed to be the star, but he just didn't have it enough, because he has the look and the prowess of a leading man. So you wonder if he just got edged out by a guy who just spoke English a little bit better, or if he just didn't fit the Assam role, because he's like, they're almost transitive of either one could play.
Yeah, I agree with that. I wonder if it was maybe just because he could speak English. He's a little bit taller. I would say that both of them are very handsome, but he's maybe more conventionally attractive for Western. He almost kind of looks like Robert Pattinson in some ways.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, for sure.
uh, now we have to speak about the two things that really stuck out to me besides the fighting, but I wanted to bring this up. You and I have talked many times, and we were even thinking about doing a documentary about Asian sexuality and how Asian men have been kind of put into this position of being unsexy, and statistically speaking, they are the least clicked on people on dating websites, where Asian women are the most clicked on. And this show does an amazing job of showing not only that Asian men can be these powerful, strong, leading characters, but that they can be fucking eye candy. Yeah, that they can be these really hot sexual beings that it doesn't once again, it doesn't feel sleazy or degrading in any way. It just shows you like, yeah, no, these guys are attractive. And I don't know why these stereotypes have persisted. It doesn't make any sense. Has an amazing romance between Assem, the lead guy, and a white woman, which obviously I think Bruce threw in there specifically because that's exactly what happened to him. Definitely saw the connections there. But it also has interracial relationships throughout the entirety of the show. And that's an important thing for media to depict, especially for Asian men. And Warren, if you want to speak to that, I'd be happy to hear your take on it as well.
Well, I would say that the show, it does such a good job that I didn't even think about it. You know, I'm watching, I'm like, oh, this is just normal. This is just Asian male leads who are able to speak in English with no accent, except for the occasional time where they have to do it for the storyline, but just existing as part of America, sleeping with, I shouldn't be simplified as sleeping with whoever they want, but in the sexuality, they could just exude this masculine energy, this sexual energy, and be able to be comfortably idolized. It made me feel really good to see these leading men be able to be leading men in a conventional way. There's nothing of like, oh, but here's the caveat. He's gonna have his wife sleep with a white man, and she's gonna run back to him, or oh, well, he'll be demeaned about having a small dick or something like that. But no, the entire time they're just able to exist as
they're shown the exact same way that white people have been portrayed for years now, and it feels very refreshing to see any show do that for any ethnicity. It was just like, like you said, as I was watching it, I was just like, this feels. One, I was taken aback by how amazing it felt to see once again a cast of all Asians. Like there are white people in the show, but very it is a show about Asian people living in Chinatown in the 1800s. So the cast obviously sways much more Asian, but you feel and emote and care about those characters just the exact same way that you would for any period drama of that same ilk. And it felt so normal to slip into that. It was so nice to know that this show existed and did that. Like,
it was a great way of showing the Chinese culture as well, without being so overhanded with it or making it into some sort of mockery in some sort of way. And the way I kind of bring that up is that Karen loved it so much that, you know, we're going to take Wing Chun classes now. Like we want to do some sort of martial arts to just kind of find some balance. And just because we enjoyed watching it so much, we're like, oh, we would like to integrate that into our lives. You know, we would like to have that practice and that sort of energy in our house. So the show does a good job of introducing this culture without being so heavy-handed of being like, oh, my forefathers taught this to me, and now I'm this mystical being who can beat up Irish people who are attacking my people. It's like, no, it's just like Assam is a talented fighter, and that's all he knows. It's actually his biggest weakness is his arrogance.
It's one of his largest character flaws is that he's so good at fighting. And speaking of fighting,
let's talk about it.
This show has some of the best fight choreography I've seen in a long, long time. Not surprising, seeing as people from The Raid worked on it. If you've never seen The Raid, me and Warren cannot recommend it enough.
Greatest kung fu film of all time.
Funnily enough, made in Indonesia. There are two of them, and they are the hardest hitting pieces of filmmaking for fights I've ever seen in my life. Yes. And that translated really well into this show. Because there are some fucking knockouts in this show, like legitimate, like, oh my god,
so that looked
fucking pain. I know that stunt dude just took that. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
give that guy a bonus.
That doesn't look like it was rehearsed because he looks like he's in a lot of pain.
Give that man a third season because he's in a lot of pain. So, did you watch the first?
I finished season 1 last night. My favorite fight of that season is, of course, Assam versus, I can't forget it. Yeah, beyond that fucking whole fight in the ring is, whoo boy, god damn.
Yes, you can feel the intensity, and their fight scenes need to tell a story themselves, and you're still acting during it. You're not just guys fighting. You still have personalities to it all, and no greater TV show fight scene, I think, portrays that than that. You see the exact moment that Leong finds his foundation for a reason to fight, or he finds his inner peace to continue on. You see that Assam becomes too cocky, and doing so causes him to lose the fight. You see the breaking of a familial bond. It's just
there's so much going on in that fight,
amazing.
On top of the amazing choreography that, like, yeah, you're right. A fight scene without any context can be fun, but at the end of the day, is very shallow. And this is not that at all. This is the complete antithesis of that. There's a lot of story going on in between people beating the shit out of each other beautifully.
Yes. And if you like this fight scenes in the season 1, get ready for season 2, because oh my god, is it just fucking epic. Just utterly insane. They take these fights to a whole new level, and it's really just heightened so well. I'd say the story might suffer a little bit in the first few scenes, but overall, season 2 is a powerhouse.
No, that's amazing. I cannot wait to watch season 2. I am so fucking excited to watch it. I can't recommend it enough. Honestly, guys, like Warrior, it's on HBO Max. It was originally a Cinemax show. But yeah, if you are...
and currently it is canceled.
Sucks.
So if you are listening to this podcast and you're fans of ours, please watch this show. They are sending so many advertisements out on social media through HBO Max to get people to watch this show to see if there's any interest. So if there is enough interest, they might make a season 3. So please watch this show, or Netflix pick it up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for recommending it. We can't recommend it enough. I can keep gushing about the show for hours, but we've already hit an hour of fucking recording. God damn, another episode in the motherfucking bag. Woo! Yeah, baby. Swish. Well, we've got another episode next week, of course, and we're going to do Tank Girl, but what are your recommendations to me to watch?
So, there's a certain anime that came out in the 90s that I found out through TikTok. Essentially, the way I'll describe it as it's called... Simpin' ain't easy is my description of it. Simpin' ain't easy, but the show is actually called Golden Boy. And essentially it's about a part-timer who works different jobs because he falls in love with a different girl and he chases after her. Unsuccessfully.
Wait, is this...
yeah.
Is there a very famous meme from this show of him swimming in the water?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never seen this anime, but I know very much about this meme.
You sure do. It's hilarious. I utterly can't get enough of it. I think it's so funny, but it's also very mature. It's super.
Well, funnily enough, I have an anime recommendation for you. I was so interested in obviously, speaking of Chinese mythology and stuff like that, kind of comes up not very much in Warrior. They actually keep it very grounded. But there was another recommendation that came up to me as I was looking through this and watching Warrior, and I was like looking through to see like other stuff, and I was recommended an anime called Fog Hill of the Five Elements. It is a Chinese anime. It is 4 parts, and it also apparently has some of the most unbelievable animation that you can find. Apparently, the Sakuga in this is second to none. Apparently, Sakuga, for those of you who don't know what that is, that's just it's Japanese for beautiful animation, or like over the top animation. If you watch, like all of the opening themes and stuff for like any anime show, that is 99% Sakuga animation. Just the best animation they can possibly do, essentially.
And they took that and made a whole four-part.
Yeah, and apparently China, not wanting to be outdone by Japan, created a show called Fog Hill of the Five Elements, and it's apparently supposed to be just like a Sakuga fest, just like crazy battles, super intense, really good, beautiful animation. And I was like, you know what? This is a Chinese show. I'm excited about this. I don't think Warren's even heard about this show before. And it's good to know that China's getting on the anime bandwagon, because obviously Korea has been crushing it recently when it comes to anime. And it's time for fucking China to throw their hat in the ring.
Well, I can't wait. I cannot wait to watch this, and we'll have two differentiating animes. One very lowbrow, one very highbrow. I can't wait to talk about it.
This is going to be amazing. Okay, so for next week, we're going to talk about Tank Girl, Sip It Ain't Easy, also known as Golden Boy, and Fog Hill of the Five Elements. Warren, do you have anything that you'd like to plug before we get the fuck out of here for today?
I want to plug my YouTube channel and my Twitch stream at Show Me the Chaos. Please check me out there. Also check out my upcoming sketch show with my team, Give the Baby a Knife, on Twitch at Boogie Manja. And have a great day.
Yes, you can find me on YouTube at the channel called Unlimited Free Time. I know, guys, I haven't done a video in a really long time. I'm with the documentary. I'm moving as well. A new video probably isn't going to come out until maybe after March or early April. I am sorry about that, but I do have 35 videos on there right now, so please feel free to watch those in the meantime. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at All the Birds. You can find this very podcast that you're listening to on YouTube at The Pop Culture Party People, but you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at the PCPP Podcast. That is it for this episode. Until next time, Warren, know that I love you very deeply. I'm very glad that we got to talk about stuff today. And until next time, remember, we're the Pop Culture Party People. We put the cult in pop culture.
We put the cult
Bye, guys.
in pop culture.
Bye.
Bye.